Hello, are we live?
We're live.
Oh, of course we are. Ladies and gentlemen, what's good, y'all? It's the Chillmeister Chris Gary, and I'm joined by, for at least the time being, Just Bleed fan. And we are here to discuss all of what happened at RIZIN 50 over the weekend. RIZIN 50 is the event that kicked off the 10th anniversary year for the RIZIN Fighting Federation, taking place from the Anabuki Arena in Takamatsu, Kagawa, Japan. This past Sunday, as you're watching this, it was March 29th, March 30th. But still, though, point of the matter is, no, I mean, come to think of it, I'm just really all shook up over this right now. I mean, I got the shout out from Michael Schiavello. We saw an incredible fight card happening, and to be honest, I just couldn't believe what we all just witnessed off of this fight card. Wouldn't you say so, Just Bleed fan?
Yeah, I thought it was entertaining. There's Jay Wolf.
Hey, what's up, guys? Good to see y'all. Has the show started already?
Yeah, we literally just started the show
Oh,
a
nice,
second
nice,
ago.
cool. So, are you guys on the intro yet?
Uh, we introduced ourselves pretty much.
Oh, okay.
I mean, first of all, let's let JDF speak first, and then you know you got something.
Oh, let's see here. What's a good angle on this thing?
So yeah,
Well, I
before
enjoyed the show. I was about to say I stayed up as late as I could to the first intermission. So then I threw in the towel. It was about 3 a.m. and went to bed. And then I watched the main card was only another 4 or 5 fights next afternoon. And I give Ryzen credit for not only making the show free, but it was available immediately on Ryzen.tv. I didn't have to wait another X number of hours until they finalized it or whatever. So yeah, it was great.
hmm and J Wolf, since I know that you probably stayed up with me to watch the show. I mean,
You know it. I made
yeah,
it through the whole thing.
but
It
yeah,
wasn't easy.
what was your overall thoughts about the show in general?
Oh, it was fantastic, sensational. I absolutely loved it. There was, a bunch of superior rule set, which is what we love, and it just, man, it was so great to see. There was even a superior rule set finish, a TKO with Machi, where she had some 12-6 elbows and some grounded knees in there, and that was probably my finish of the night. And it was just action packed the whole night, dude, and just it was great. It was a great show. I just can't wait for the next one.
I mean, obviously, when it comes to the finish of Machi over Seo Young Park, and we'll get to that momentarily. Anything involving ESPN2 elbows, aka 12-6 K1 style elbows, you enjoy.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, and those grounded knees, and then we saw some grounded kicks as well, and some action packed throughout most of the fights, and just man, it was great. Just love to see that. And the international fighters were back, and we had the announcements for the heavyweight GP and Kyoji going back to the UFC. I mean, just man, so much good stuff was happening. I just loved it. And then JBF, since JBF is here, the Ryzen FF Discord, there's a fantasy league that JBF is the one that got it started, and that just made all the fights even more exciting and just so much more fun. It was, man, each fight, because in the Ryzen FF Discord fantasy league, it's like other fantasy leagues to where you have a certain amount of money you bid on fighters to get complete your roster. You only get a couple like 3 or 4 fighters per each division, and then each car we get to bid on them and get fighters, and then for those fights it just makes the fight just takes to the next level of fun. It's really cool. So I recommend all the fans join and have some good. I mean, and thanks to JBF, thank you, brother. That shit is so much fun. And just have a good time. And yeah, I mean, dude, there was like 2 fight of the year candidates on Ryzen 50, right? 2 fight of the year candidates, superior rule set galore. All was missing was an actual superior rule set finish. International fans, announcements, heavyweight Grand Prix, and just man, great, fantastic. And then the highlight of the night, Jay Chris, did you get that sound bite of Michael Chiavallo, the voice, giving you a shout out?
I sent it to you through your Discord DMs, dude.
Oh, nice. Yes, I can't get that on the computer right now, but man, I can't. That was one of the highlights of the night for me. That was sensational hearing Chiavallo, the voice on the RIZIN 50 air, just on the broadcast, giving Jay Chris and Focus Fights a shout out, man.
Well,
That was fucking cool.
to be honest, it's kind of full circle because Matt Stryker gave Andrew and I, the We Are RIZIN podcast, in total, our shout out back in 2020 before the world went crazy at RIZIN. You remember that, right, Jay Wolf?
Yeah. But this time, it wasn't just dude. He gave you a shout out by name. That was what was so cool. He actually said your name. He's like, oh, and everybody who doesn't know what this song is, go check out Jay Christian Gary. And dude, it was so freaking cool. That was so freaking cool. Shout out to the voice for giving you a shout out on the broadcast. That was sensational. One of the highlights of the night for me as well.
Oh yeah, it was definitely fucking cool. I basically still am on cloud 9 when it came down to that shit. But before we get off into the main card, before we even talk about the main event, I just want to talk a little bit about the preliminary portion of the show, and I'll run through the results of the prelims real quick, if y'all don't mind.
Go ahead.
Down to prelims. Toki Kagawa defeated Ryuki via unanimous decision. That was in a kickboxing bout, 3 3-minute rounds. Hiroki Takaoka submitted Seiya Amenyama via unanimous decision. Well, actually, no. Via rear naked choke submission, 3 minutes, 54 seconds of round number 2. In more kickboxing action, Shoji Otani knocked out Yamato Ashikaga via first round knockout, not even waiting for the bell to end round 1. Ryuki Yoshioka defeated Daiki Kirizume via split decision, and Ryoya Inai defeated Rinto Kako via first round TKO via referee stoppage 3 seconds before the end of the first round. But the thing was, and obviously I enjoyed that shout out that Michael Chiavallo gave me. I mean, again, I don't do this shit just basically for gits and shiggles. I mean, I'm just saying, I enjoy doing that just as much as Miki K from Japan enjoys jotting down entrance themes, because we want RIZIN to have their own version of the Sherdog Walkman articles. But when it came down to the particular fight between Yoshioka and Kirizume, one of the fighters, Ryuki Yoshioka, came out to a particular entrance theme that was done by a beat maker. As you can see on the screen, if you're not watching this and you're listening to this, I'll just spell it out for you. The artist in question is KYXXX, or Kicks for short. Basically, he had the nerve to, act like a bitch, so to speak, when it came down to me, him, and the fact that he came out to this particular, that Mr. Yoshida came out to the Mr. Yoshioka came out to this particular artist's theme. And I basically had to read him the riot act saying, hey, if you put the thing out on the internet for fair use, why the fuck are you complaining that you're getting free publicity off of this?
Exactly. And if he did complain, they'll never allow them to play his music ever again. So he loses exposure. It's just, I saw that thread you're talking about. There was a Twitter interaction or X interaction between you two, and just you were trying to be the bigger the peacemaker, I guess,
mm-hmm.
and just try, and it just, the guy was having none of it and was just totally just it was stupid. Man, that guy, he's only hurting his own he's only hurting his own self. So whatever.
I mean, JBF, I know you've probably been around a hell of a lot longer than both of us, but when you hear artists basically complain about their music being played elsewhere. I mean, especially for a fight show. How does that really tick you? What do you think should have been done in that situation?
The artist complained that his song was used in the walkout, is what you're saying.
Yep.
Okay. I don't know what the rules are. I assume that those songs are cleared, like when the UFC does it, for example, or other fight promotions, boxing. I assume they clear them somehow. There's some kind of nominal payment at least. I'm not sure about that, but I think that's what it is. So maybe that wasn't the case with this artist. Seems like a kind of a petty thing to complain about. That most artists are making their money from touring, not from record sales anymore, or ringtones, or whatever they used to get years ago. So, yeah, it seems short-sighted, but maybe he's got a point. Maybe other artists get paid. I don't know. And
Yeah.
also, maybe it's different in Japan.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. This particular artist that's bitching and moaning, he's from the UK. He was complaining, oh, I'm going to send an invoice to RIZIN because I don't like them profiting off of me without a valid license. Like, dude, what the fuck?
No, they're not profiting off of you, buddy. They're just helping you out, giving you exposure.
Yeah, I mean, he might have a point, is what I'm saying. If Metallica and Kid Rock and whoever else, AC/DC.
No, that was for Napster. That was for Napster, JBF. That wasn't for use of a walkout song. That was for sharing. Napster was the original, like LimeWire or whatever was the one that took over after that. But that was MP3s that were being shared, like actual the music. It wasn't like a walkout. So
we're talking about walkouts nowadays. Right. So, like I said, when Kid Rock is played or whoever at the UFC broadcast, somebody's getting paid there, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure.
Unless it's a live performance and they're just doing the shit for free, like how they had for the Mendes versus McGregor fight about a decade ago.
Yeah, that's a rarity. I know when they put fights up on like Fight Pass, they strip the music out because it's a different rule for doing it live in the venue here in America versus putting it on a DVD or on a stream. So they take that out, and so you just hear generic music and the commentators. So they don't have to get involved with, paying the artist at that point. But maybe live, I'm not sure.
I mean, it's the same way when back in the day, Dream and Sengoku used to have events on HDNet, and if they were even shown like a day late, their music would be stripped out.
Well, today still they mute the music on they mute the walkouts on the replays sometimes. Did they do that for this one for RIZIN 50 when you guys watched?
I mean, from the little bit of the replay that I did watch, no, they did not.
Really? Otherwise, wow, cool.
Able to get the screen cap of Michael Schiavello shouting me out. But as far as this particular artist, Kicks, goes, yeah, we mentioned the fact that some of these big name artists are heavy to get when it comes down to music rights. But I'm looking at this dude's Twitter page, and he basically said, oh, Billboard #1 credits, KFC, Nokia, Apex Legends, Ciroc Vodka, BBC iPlayer, Trapstar, Chase Status, 504 and 9s, Boogsy Malone, blah, 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 blah. But the dude only manages to get like 4,000 followers on Twitter.
Yeah, exactly. So he should be thankful that he's getting further exposure in a totally different market,
I mean, the dude is basically barking up the wrong tree when it comes down to complaining about his music not even getting exposed to the world.
Exactly.
Shit, exactly. He's thankful that he should be even getting that exposure to the masses otherwise. And yeah, I'm looking now at his Instagram. We got 18,000 followers. Who fucking cares, right? Point of the matter is, this brat, because he basically came up to me like a spoiled brat.
Yeah, he was very that's a good way to put it.
He should be thankful that he's even getting exposure to have his music being shown on a worldwide fight promotion, especially
Yep.
considering this was during the prelims. I think you had like close to 5,000, maybe 10,000 live streams watching on YouTube at the time. This motherfucker should have been happy that his music was getting played, not basically bashing me because I tagged him.
It was way more than 10,000. It was in the tens of thousands on when I looked at the counter before it. Well, I don't know if it was what fight was it on the prelims?
It was on the particular fight that we just wrapped up talking about. The third fight of the prelim. Well, actually, no, the fourth fight of the prelims, Yoshioka versus Kirizume. I think I jotted down just about everybody's theme from that damn show.
I mean, because towards the end of those prelims, they had. I saw the counter. It was, I can't remember the exact number, but it was tens of thousands. It might have even been over 100,000 by the time the counter, by the time the prelims were up. So, but it was on the Japanese YouTube stream, so it wasn't like 100,000 American fans watching, but still 100,000 is 100,000, right? So the guy should be thankful that you got big time exposure. So
yeah,
what do you guys think about the actual fights
and
of the prelims?
Before we even get on, I should just say, and this is the last thing I'll say about this. I mean, I'm looking at his combined follower status. He's got 140,000 followers. Like, dude, you were barely even worth 140 seconds. I mean, basically, all I'm saying is, again, you should be thankful that you are even getting time to air out your shit on a global fight platform. Otherwise,
Absolutely.
Easily, Yoshida could have picked something else to come out to as his song. He probably could have came out to the most obscure piece of music of all time and call that an entrance theme instead of come out to that bullshit you basically call music.
Yeah,
I mean,
and if he did send in a complaint or invoice, then they'll never play his music again. So that'll do that. So
of course, but still though, what I thought of the prelims,
yeah,
those were some great appetizers to kick off the main course. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, 100% agreed. Except the one that I was most interested in was the mixed martial arts bout that was on the prelims. There was one mixed martial arts bout and like 4 kick bouts. Yeah. Or no, there was 4 of them, right? 4 or 5.
Yeah. 1 MMA fight and 4 kickboxing bouts.
Okay. Yeah. And on the mixed martial arts bout, the guy didn't know the assignment. And there was some opportunities for him to throw some superior rule set, and he missed it. I mean, we could have had a sensational couple finishes, but he wasn't the only one. So we'll get into that later on the fights. But for the kick fights, there was some good finishes. They and the bouts are pretty cool. It was a mixed bag of finishes, and wasn't there like 3 finishes and 2 decisions, or no?
It was on the prelims. It was, I think, 3 finishes and 2 decisions.
Yeah. So they're pretty good. Like you're saying, a good appetizer for the main card.
JBF, your thoughts about the prelims before we move on?
I mostly really paid attention to the mixed martial arts fight. I thought that was the most interesting fight. It ended in a finish. It was a submission. And I was not familiar with those kickboxers. Sometimes a name we may recognize, but they do have a lot of younger or first-timers on these kickboxing bouts on the early prelims. So they were entertaining at least. Some of them ended by a finish as well.
I mean, come to think of it, I did post a little alternate thread on the Focus Fights Twitter account, showcasing their hobbies, their likes and dislikes for all the fighters on the damn card. And, it kind of really puzzled me when it came down to the kickboxing fights, because I had to do like deep research for them, just who the hell they were,
Yeah, and on the preview show, Mike from Ohio, he really had some good insight on a couple guys who were from King K1. There was a couple guys from Deep Kick, and they put on a pretty good show. It was pretty fun. So good appetizer. But for future shows, more mixed martial arts and less kick. It'd be cool if it was the other way around. If it was 4 mixed martial arts bouts and then 1 kick bout.
Yeah, but you know damn well, the more they fight in the ring, the more they basically not gonna resist the urge to put on more kickboxing fights. You do know.
Or how about the open finger glove, small glove kickboxing bouts, or for JBF, a collaboration with his favorite BKFC bare knuckle. Let's get that going.
You know what? That would work. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it wouldn't work, but hey, that would work.
Yeah, 100%. I know JBF would love that. I know he's got some. This is a big weekend for BKFC, so that's going to be. I know he would love that if the prelims were, instead of like if it was mixed between like a kicker fight or 2, mixed martial arts bout or 2, and a couple bare knuckle bouts. I know that would be like that would be JBF bliss for the prelims.
Yeah, I watch the Bare Knuckle Show, their podcast every Tuesday, and they've had a lot of stuff going on. I have not heard them mention Japan once since they were there, or they had that 1 or 2, was it bare knuckle bouts in RIZIN.
They had right around 2 fights last summer.
Yeah. But hasn't been mentioned at all. I mean, they have a million other things going on. As he said, they're in Dubai this week. Maybe they will get back to Japan. I don't know if will be still working with, RIZIN in any way, but I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, well, I'm sure they will. Why not? It was very successful there, and the fans embraced it, and it was a lot of fun. So I'm sure they'll come back. Especially if they're going to do an international show in Japan, then there'll definitely be a collaboration with BKFC again.
Oh yeah, of course. But now that we've pretty much been through all the talk and hype of the prelims and everything that went on with it, let's go ahead and talk about the main event. And for those, who are basically wondering why I'm having a thumbnail of somebody else's tweet as the main photo of the video or the main photo of the audio portion, if you're listening to this, Naoki Inoue defeated Yuki Montoya via split decision, 3 5-minute rounds for the RIZIN Bantamweight title. Inoue retains in his first defense. But in the thumbnail of the tweet that I basically have cropped out, if you're watching this right now or wondering why there's a thumbnail, that feature set tweeted is from former RIZIN fighter or former or future RIZIN fighter Trent God Samurai Girdham, formerly Trent Niño Loco Girdham, saying that Inoue should have won. That Montoya should have won the fight. Now, when it comes down to it, I know that fight was just incredible, even though Inoue won via unanimous decision, but I take attest to that particular question that Girdham to that particular statement that Girdham pointed out. Should Montoya be the RIZIN Bantamweight champion right now?
JBF, go ahead. You go first.
I thought it was a close fight. Same with the co-main, which I'm sure we'll talk about next. I thought Inoue pulled it off. I thought the other fight was closer or more controversial, the co-main. So, and not to mention, I was also rooting for Inoue. I didn't have any money on this card, but I did have Inoue on my roster for the fantasy league. So, championship points were at stake. So, I was happy when they announced it. This is an interesting. These 2 fights, the main and the co-main, are interesting because when I see them be split decisions in RIZIN, there's a part of me that thinks, now, if this was the 10-9 must system, how would it change the outcome? Which, so I think in this fight, it might have went the other way if they used the 10-9 must system. Whereas in the other fight, the co-main, I thought that the 10-9 must system wouldn't have changed anything. Mm-hmm. That's debatable, but you don't know how they really decide in RIZIN.
Well, the official criteria is supposed to go. Number one is damage, 50%, and then it's aggressiveness is like 30%, and then cage generalship, or not cage, excuse me, ring generalship is supposed to be 20%. And according to that damage, I agree with JBF 100%. I thought that the main event, it was the right decision. I actually thought it should have been a split decision because Montoya, it was very close. You guys are 100% correct. It was very close. Some people were saying that Montoya won. And like JBF said, maybe in a 10-9 must system, it maybe Montoya did win. But I thought, even with the 10-9 must system, I thought Inoue did enough, to be honest with you guys. I thought, like JBF said, it was much clearer for Inoue than it was in the co-main event, which we'll talk about next. But I mean, bros like Aisha from the City Life Project, he was championing that Montoya should have got the decision as well, and he made very valid points and everything, and just but I did for my personal scorecard, I had it like JBF, but JBF, see, he was biased because, like he said, he had scored Inoue on his roster for the fantasy league, the RIZIN FF Discord fantasy league, so he was he had extra on that fight, so that probably made it even more fun for him. But I thought it was the correct decision. I just thought it should have been a split for Inoue instead because it was very close. It was very close, and but Montoya should have got going sooner. If he would have got going sooner, I think, and if he would have finished stronger, I think he might have been able to take it. But I don't know because it was a unanimous for Inoue, so that means they gave him probably the beginning of the fight, right? So they probably thought that he did enough in the first couple rounds to get. Well, obviously they did because they gave him a unanimous decision, but I thought it was close enough to be a split. But I thought it was a correct decision in my opinion.
It was a split decision. I'm just checking.
Oh, it says here that Jay Chris got it as a UD, unanimous decision.
On Topology, it says split decision.
Oh, okay, good.
Well, maybe I should have edited that because I was looking at it through an app called SofaScore.
Oh, okay. Well, if it was a split decision, good. That's even better. That's to me, that's the correct decision. And when I was watching, that's how I felt. I was like, man, because I wanted Montoya to win because a veteran. This is pretty much his last shot at a major title, right? The guy's been fought everywhere. He's a great fighter, but he's getting up there in age, and this is pretty much. I personally think that probably maybe that he can work his way back to another one, but I thought he was going to go all out, which he did, and but it just wasn't enough. But I want. I wouldn't have been mad if he got the decision, but I thought it was a correct decision on my scorecard.
So what you're saying is you probably don't think that Montoya is going to get another world title opportunity.
I mean, I don't know. It depends on, what's his path back to the title shot? How many does he have to win to get back to a title shot, right? And this is
around 1 or 2, right?
Well, remember, this is one of their premier divisions in RIZIN. This is the featherweight division. Or no, is this bantamweight or featherweight? No, this is bantamweight. Yeah, bantamweight. This is one of their premier divisions, and there's a bunch of killers at bantamweight. You got guys like, didn't Doubtback say he wants to try to drop down now? I mean, you even got guys from the featherweight division talking about dropping down. There is some. So, I mean, I don't know. Montoya, he's a good fighter, but that's one of their shark tanks. So, I mean, it remains to be seen if he can do it. I mean, hey, more power to him. But I don't know. He's how old does it say he is? Does it say he's 36, 37?
Inoue is 35. No, actually, Montoya is 35.
Oh, okay. So he's 35 going on 36, right? I mean,
yeah.
Dude, that's for an athlete, 35 is a wall, It just, and then when he hits, gets close to the 40, that's when the big wall hits where he's like, I mean, for the lighter weight divisions especially, for the heavier guys, the heavyweights, they can get away with it because power is the last thing to go, right? So they can usually get away with being up there in age, but the lighter weight fighters, it's kind of difficult when they start getting older. So, I mean, he's a great fighter, but depends on what the matchups are because, like I said, the Shark Tank, and Inoue's a great fighter, obviously. So we'll see how it goes.
Matoya was also a 4-1 underdog, and he overperformed.
Yeah. He was one of the livest dogs on the whole card. We were talking about that on Aisha's The City Life Project podcast, because he has that podcast preview is fun because he always has the betting odds. And Matoya was a significant underdog, like JBF was saying, and I guess he closed even more as an underdog because during the show, for the preview show, he was like 2-1 or like 3-1. Now you're saying he was 4-1. Wow! So they really thought that Inoue was going to win. So, and which he obviously did, but man, Matoya, that's why I was saying it was a live dog, because this could be his last shot at a title, so he was going to go all out, which he did, and he almost won. So if he would have just been strong in those first couple rounds, I think he would have won
it. Understood. I mean, other than that, I guess those are our final thoughts before we move on to the co-main.
Yes, this is the one I want to talk about here. This is the people's main event, the co-main.
Okay, well, Karshiga Doubtbeck defeated Chihiro Suzuki to stop his featherweight title comeback hopes. I mean, obviously, Doubtbeck is a killer at featherweight, and he hopes to potentially get the winner of Kleber Koike versus Razabali Shabdulayev, the fight that's going to be happening at the Tokyo Dome coming up in a few months. Well, actually, no, not even coming up in a few months. I mean, holy shit, I can't believe I'm saying this. The next fight card we're going to have in RIZIN is exactly about what?
4 weeks.
Yeah, 4 weeks or 5 weeks from now?
No, it's 4. It's on May the 4th.
Wow. And that's already on a stat weekend of fight cards, but still, that's already on a stat week of fights, so to speak. But still, though, when it comes down to this particular fight, and I know that Doubtbeck is basically hoping to get a title shot, but when will he get one? And how long do you think the road will be for Chihiro Suzuki to come back to a world title shot?
JBF, you want to go first? Go ahead.
JBF, you go first.
I'm going to correct your graphic again. This was also a split decision, not a unanimous decision. And I had Doubtbeck on my team on the fantasy league, and I was holding my breath for the decision because I did not think he was going to get it. Chihiro looked good, his height, his length, his activity. He also, I think he finished strong at the end, which, if I recall correctly, the third round, he really came on and caused some damage. He was backing him Doubtbeck up. So under the scoring the fight as a whole system, I thought that had a much stronger, lean towards giving him the decision, whereas under the 10-9 system, he might have won the first 2 rounds and lost the third and been a pretty clear 29-28. I actually thought Doubtbeck was going to lose this fight. I was glad he didn't, just for the fantasy league. But and also I feel like Chihiro is very popular. He seems like one of the better and funner fighters in RIZIN. So I'm pretty sure all he needs is like another good win or two, especially a finish. And and he's the right age. He can get back in there in a title shot or number 1 contender fight.
Mm-hmm.
J Wolf, what say you?
Yeah, I mean, JBF is spot on, bro. Spot on. Honestly, I could not. I thought Chihiro got robbed. I mean, even though it was a split, I mean, in the first round he was out striking with leg kicks. It's like they didn't even count the leg kicks, and damage is supposed to count the most. And did Chihiro? Did he not cut him? Did he not open up a big cut on Doubtbeck? Remember, Doubtbeck was bleeding pretty bad, right? So I mean, they didn't even score the damage, and Doubtbeck's legs were all chewed up from all the leg kicks, and just, I mean, and they were, I mean, it was, and Chihiro was, the second criteria for the RIZIN scoring system is aggressiveness. Chihiro was the one pushing the action with leg kicks, with, he's coming forward, swinging. He rocked out. Doubtbeck rocked him back too a couple of times, but I thought for sure that Chihiro was. I mean, really, the only thing that Doubtbeck got over Chihiro was in the first round. He was able to score a takedown. That was the only thing he had more than Chihiro in that fight. And like JBF said, the third round, Chihiro really turned it on and almost put Doubtback away, especially towards the end. Like the final minute was just an absolute firefighter where Chihiro was just super aggressive going for it. And that really should have given him the fight, to be honest with you. If we were scoring it correctly, according to RIZIN's scoring criteria and scoring the bout as a whole, I mean, he should have won that. I thought it was to me, it was like, it felt like the judges were scared to give it, like they were going to be accused of home cooking if they gave it to Chihiro. And I mean, I was upset about that. And not just because, I have Chihiro in my fantasy league. This is one, man, there was so many layers of this bout. It was like me and JBF, our fighters, our rosters going for the fantasy league. It just added such an extra fun layer to it. And then the fighters themselves, I love Chihiro. He's probably one of my favorites, if not the favorite rising star in the Epic Rising Fighting Federation. He's only 25, going on 26. So he can easily bounce back. And I guess that's probably why, they robbed him of that win. But I was upset because I felt he had done enough, and it just felt like they were scared. It felt like the judges were scared to give it to him because they didn't want to be accused of home cooking decision. And like remember when the Bellator versus RIZIN, the first New Year's Eve Bellator versus RIZIN 5 versus 5 card. Remember when there was a couple bouts where the RIZIN fighter probably should have won, but it seemed like no, they didn't want to upset Scotty Cokes and Bellator, and so they gave the decision to the Bellator fighter so that they could continue the collaboration, right? That's what this kind of felt like. It felt like they were scared to give the win to Chihiro because they might, I don't know if they were going to lose Doubtback or whatever, whatever they were thinking, or they just didn't want to be accused of home cooking. So they just gave it to Doubtback. But I mean, look, there's prominent voices. I'll just say Aisha from the City Life Project. He is convinced that Doubtback won, like convinced that he won because, dude, he was breaking it down to me on the Twitter DMs or X DMs, just saying, because we were going back and forth. I'm sitting there going, dude, no way, that third round. And he's like, nope. For that, the first round, he was count. Of course, it is true. Doubtback got Chihiro down the first round, but he didn't do a lot of damage on that with the takedown. So to me, that should not score more than third round ending flurry. Bout scored as a whole. And Doubtback was cut. Remember, he was bleeding bad. He had more visible damage. And leg kicks, they should score. That, to me, another thing that I was talking about with Aisha from the City Life Project is that we wish we had one of those CompuBox scores. Don't they release those sometimes? They didn't release that for this card right here. So it'd be nice to see the CompuBox scores because I know Chihiro scored more leg kicks. I mean, without even just watching the fight, you could tell that Chihiro was outscoring him on leg kicks. And then the striking with the fists, that was kind of even. They seemed like they were rocking each other back and forth. But then that third round, like I said, even JBF was said perfectly. That should have won him the fight right there. So, but it was a banger, absolute banger, a fight of the year candidate. It was so much fun, and just it's just a shame that Jay robbed Chihiro, but he's jumping up to bounce back, and now Doubtback's probably going to be going fighting for the title next. Like you said, they're going to see who's going to win versus Kleber and Sean Alive. And once they find out who wins that, I bet you anything they're going to put Doubtback in there versus the winner.
I mean, obviously, I wouldn't be surprised if they end up having that fight in November if that's the case. Because
sooner than that, because Kleber and Shadalayev are happening May 4th. So I mean, I think by July, because aren't they saying there's going to have they said that there's going to be a June event and then a July event. July is when they're starting the Flyweight Grand Prix.
Mm-hmm.
Correct? Yeah, that was one of the announcements of the flight. So I think they should put it on that Flyweight Grand Prix card in July. I think that'd be, well, I don't know. I mean, that's only 2 months away, right? Well, it depends on when the card is in July. So they can make it as soon as July.
July card would be 3 months away, but still, though, get what you're saying.
Yeah, so that's what I think they should do. And I don't think they should wait all the way till November. They should do it as soon as possible. That way, whoever wins that bout between Doubtback and the winner of Kleber and Shadalayev, then if they do it in July or August, then they can have the title defense again on the New Year's Eve mega event that they always do, right? So to me, that's why I think they should do it as soon as possible so they can have it again, the defense title again on New Year's Eve.
Oh yeah. And JBF, you have any last thoughts you would like to say about this fight before we move on?
Oh, I said it all. Let's go to the next one.
Okay. Well, if that's the case, let's go on to the next one, and that fight is the technical decision win by RIZIN newcomer Shunta Nomura, the deep lightweight champion, defeating Luis Killer Gustavo via technical decision. That finish came 2 minutes 27 seconds of round number 3. Now, when it came down to this, I think it was because of an accidental clash of heads, an accidental set of headbutts that basically caused the fight to be stopped early because the cut on Gustavo's head was just too ghastly to even finish the fight. But it comes down to my question in the little tagline. Do you think that the fight should have been stopped early? And as
Hell no, I was pissed off at that. That was, man. Remember that they had.
So you basically think that Luis Gustavo could have fought a little bit longer?
Yes, and he was mounting a comeback in that third round when they stopped it. Did you notice that? He was starting to turn it on, like he was really pushing to win. And it just, man, I was so pissed off at that. Remember they had a women's fight, like I don't know if it was last year or the year before, but where there was also a clash of heads, and it was a big cut too. And they let and she was bleeding all over the place, and they let the fight continue for 2 more rounds, and they let him finish. And this one, it's like it wasn't even that bad of a cut to me, in my opinion. They only had a couple minutes left, and they stop it after all that action that was happening. It was such a great fight. And they stopped, and Luis was mounting a comeback. No, to answer your question, Jay Krish, no, hell no, they should not have stopped it. That made me upset. But credit to Shunta, that was a good win for him. Win's a win. So great fight, but they should let that play out till the finish, because Killer Gustavo, he was on the comeback trail. So who knows what would happen that final 2 minutes.
Okay, and JBL. When it comes down to Shunta, I mean, aside from me mentioning that he's the deep lightweight champion, and he wanted to obviously get an opportunity to fight Roberto Satoshi de Sousa coming up at a later event, preferably in June, July, or August. I mean, where do you see his path going now, even though, again, he's only had one fight in RIZIN?
Yeah, I'm sure it's a disappointing way to win. I thought he was winning the fight. I was resigned because I had Gustavo on my fantasy team, and I was resigned at taking a loss, and I was just hoping he wasn't going to get finished. I was glad that they correctly went to a technical decision. As a matter of fact, I was impressed that they have that in Japan, because that's exactly what would happen in the UFC. It has to go to, they have to finish 2 full rounds in a 3-round fight to let it go to a technical decision on an unintentional foul, like a clash of heads. It doesn't happen that often, because it has to finish 2 rounds but not finish the third. And likewise in a championship fight, in the UFC at least, where there are 5 rounds, it has to finish 3 and enter the 4th or 5th to go to a technical decision. It's a lot more common in boxing with 10, 12 rounds, and lots more clashes of heads. So I thought the right decision was made. I could see the argument that the cut maybe elsewhere outside of Japan, they might have put some stuff on that cut and let it go, and the fight probably would have ended, probably would have went to a regular decision. I feel strongly that Gustavo probably would have lost that decision, although he was doing a little better. But at least for Shunta, I'm going to guess that he's going to want to get back in there on an upcoming card and show what he can do, finish a fight or at least go to a decision and, get himself into contention, because coming off that, no one's, ready to go, make him a contender yet.
Nice.
Yeah, and to JBF's point, if he would have won like a proper decision or scored a finish, he'd be next in line for a title shot. He would be next in line for a title shot, because Luis Killer Gustavo, he's coming off of a title shot. So he was the de facto number one contender basically for the lightweight division. So I mean, JBF is absolutely correct in that. So and I think that's probably why they stopped it from the head clash. If it was like a cut caused by an elbow, they probably would have let it go, because I mean that's one of the beautiful things about the BKFC collaboration is that usually every single BKFC fight, bare knuckle, there's usually cuts and blood and everywhere. And even for the RIZIN bare knuckle bouts that they did, there was a cut and blood that was happening, and they let it go. So I love the BKFC collaboration because it toughens up the Japanese when it comes to blood and cuts and stuff. So, but like I said, that I need to find out what that women's bout was where it was a clash of heads cut that they let continue for multiple rounds, and this girl was bleeding all over the place, and she finished the bout and got the decision win. And it's like, why would they, regress in allowing the cuts to happen and go back to where they were like scared? Remember when they stopped that bout because of like a guy had a bloody nose, and then what was the one with it was with Crow Cop, right? Was it Crow Cop or was it no? What's the one that Drew always? Anyways, that's in the past, and that's what I think. That's why I think I love the collaboration of BKFC. And this bout, it just makes me so mad that they pussed out. Let's just be honest. They pussed out. It was only 2 minutes left, and they should have just put some Vaseline on it and just let him finish it out, because who knows what would have happened that final 2 minutes. Killer Gustavo was mounting a little mini comeback like JBF's the same. And what if he scored a knockout in the final 2 minutes? What if he scored like a knockdown and then hit him with a grounded kick? Or better yet, a stomp to finish it. I mean, that is a possibility on a superior rule set. So it would just infuriate to see them do that and stop it and push out because of a head clash and some blood. And then, of course, in the co-main with Doubtbeck, he got cut up and was bleeding all over the place. They didn't even look at it to stop it. It was like, man, I don't know. It was just, I get it because it was a head clash in this one. So that's why, that's what it was, because of the damn head clash. But still, let's see what happens in the next fight. Like JBF was saying, Shunta's going to want to show out in his next bout, because he's pretty much the de facto number one contender now. I mean, and if he would have won impressively or by like a regular decision, he'd probably be fighting for the title next. And who knows? Maybe they might even just say, you know what, screw it, we're just going to throw him in there for the title. I mean, but that's a great division for them. So we'll see what they do. But yeah, it was just, they should let that go, man. They should let that go. It's only 2 minutes left. Come on. Put some Vaseline on it. Grab your balls just like you did for the BKFC collaboration bouts. Let them bleed and let them fight. 2 minutes left is not going to hurt nothing.
I mean, I can understand that, but then again, if that fight would have been stopped at a later point if that fight would have been stopped, I'm pretty sure the dude wouldn't have been able to get back up.
What do you mean what, if you got knocked down?
Yeah.
Yeah. If the 2 minutes were left and Luis Gustavo scored a knockdown, he could have finished it. So I mean, he was on a little roll there in the final part of that third round before they stopped it. So because he had lost the first 2 rounds, like JBF was saying, you're absolutely correct, JBF. He was losing. He was on his way to losing a decision, and he really had turned it on that third round. It was mounting a little mini comeback, and then all of a sudden the head clash happened, screwed everything up, and just then they pushed out on the blood, and just disappointed into a great fight. That's all I gotta say.
Okay, you want to go ahead and talk about the fourth to last fight on the main card?
Yeah, go ahead, preview it up.
Okay, Edok Polo King Shogo II defeated the Raging Bull Ryo Sakai via second round knockout, 2 minutes 32 seconds in a fight that, let's face it, he was getting, let's just say, his inexperience really shown in that first round because he just let Ryo have it his way until the fight in sequence where Polo worked a very little ground game on so far and just reversed Sakai and took him out with a couple of grounding. Now, I basically say that because of the fact that Polo King is now 2-0 with 2 KOs in mixed martial arts. But with the RIZIN Heavyweight Grand Prix set to come up next month, and they want to bring more fighters into the mix before making it official, but they also need some alternates to go with it. I mean, do you think that Polo King has done enough to earn himself a Grand Prix spot, or do you think that the inexperience of that? JBF, you go first.
The first thing I want to comment is that I find it funny that he's listed as, sometimes Ed King Polo, or looking at other places, it says King EDOKPOLO, which is what? Edoc Polo? What is his name, actually? That's the first funny observation I had. Well, the confusion about how you actually say his name, but he's a physical specimen.
I mean, if you can't pronounce that last name, or in some cases, since the Japanese lettering is last name first, you can pretty much call him King. But still, though,
is that his actual name or nickname?
I mean, I don't know. I would probably have to.
I thought it was all a nickname. It's a Western name, right?
Yeah, it's a Western. But still, though, point of the matter is, when it comes down to King, again, we don't know much about him, other than the fact that he's a Nigerian-Korean juggernaut. He fought for Breaking Down before, and he has won 2 MMA fights, both of which via knockout so far. So he's not exactly setting the world on fire. But still, though.
What? Yeah, he is. Dude, he's got the Combat Sports Today news fan calling him one of the scariest fighters on the Epic RIZIN roster. You see that tweet from them?
I did see the tweet from them, but
and shout out to Combat Sports Today news, one of the best in the game right now.
Well, yeah, of course. But as far as the sample size goes, dude only has had 2 fights so far.
I mean, but they were good fights and exciting fights. And Ryo really showed, that we got to see exactly what we wanted to see. He took Ed Polo King down. We got to see what would happen with Ed Polo King on the ground. Took him past the first round. We wanted to see what would happen if he took him out of the first round. So, Ryo Sakai did a great job. And Ed Polo King did even better. I'm going to call him Ed Polo King, JBF. Let's call that Ed Polo King. that's how it is on the graphics, so that's what we're going to call him.
Right.
So it was, and when he was on the ground, remember when he got taken down, and Ryo Sakai was about to maneuvering for a north-south choke, right? And he was about to lock it in, and then Ed Polo King really showed, even though he was a young fighter, he really showed some great ground fighting awareness, and he was able to reverse that and get out of that dangerous position, and then he scored the TKO finish. So I thought it was a great performance. And to answer your question, he does not go into the main bracket of the Heavyweight Grand Prix, but for the alternate, 100% yes. Have him be one half of the alternate, and so he can definitely be part of the Heavyweight Grand Prix as for the alternate bout, 100%.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though, Jane. The reason why I say he shouldn't be in the Grand Prix is because of that inexperience. I mean, just think about what happened with Robelis DePayne when he came into the UFC after getting all of those knockouts in Titan FC and Fury FC and the Dana White Contender Series. I mean, as soon as he got into the UFC after that knockout win he had against, I think, Jared Papazian or something, he basically got exposed in his next fight against Waldo Cortez Acosta, and that ended up, being the death knell for his UFC career. Granted, the dude has bounced back with knockout wins in karate combat, and probably might do the same in the Global Fight League, but still, though, only time will tell for him. As far as Edok Polo goes, I don't know what might happen next. I mean, all I'm just hoping for is that he doesn't get put into big situations too soon, because if he does, I mean, I don't think we might see the best of his years. I think we might see the falling off of a future icon.
I don't think so. I think he'd be fine as for the alternate. You don't think he'd be okay as an alternate?
I mean, I think he'd be okay as an alternate.
Okay.
To get put into the main tournament.
Well, what JDF? What do you think? Do you think he'd be okay as an alternate? What do you think of the bout?
He used his physicality to get out of that bottom position, and he was lucky to have done that. And that did show his inexperience. It showed his strength, and it also showed that if that happened against another fighter, he probably would not have been able to get up from that. Somebody else would have either finished him or held him down. And so I think his inexperience is a limitation. He's a lot of fun. He's one of my favorite heavyweights in RIZIN now. For what that's worth, their heavyweight division is sort of, small for what it is. I don't know about the Grand Prix. The heavyweight Grand Prix, it's not like the ones years ago with Crow Cop and King Mo. We're talking a much lower level heavyweight Grand Prix in RIZIN. So maybe he can do okay there, but any more experienced fighters are probably going to finish him if he gets on his back like that again.
What about as an alternate? Would you be okay with him as an alternate in the Grand Prix?
I mean, you could throw him as an alternate and just hope that he doesn't get called up, because he may win that alternate fight, and then who knows? Maybe he'll have a shot. Is it a one night tournament?
No, it's going to be three. They're going to do.
No, they're going to July, September, and
okay.
Yeah. No, I think JBF. It's going to be the first. It's 8-man only, so it's going to be the first round is not going to be a one night Grand Prix. And I think they're starting in July as well, right? And that's going to be opening round, and then for the final, they're going to do the semifinals and final in one night, and that'll finish up the Grand Prix. That's technically a one night Grand Prix, and then the winner of that is going to probably face as the news broke this week that the Epic Rise is talking to Ryan Bader. Probably is going to the winner of the heavyweight Grand Prix is probably going to face Ryan Bader on New Year's Eve. Is my guess.
Okay. Well, they can't put Bader in that tournament because he'll mop the floor with a whole lot of those guys.
No shit.
So
the dude is literally a legend. I mean, I'm pretty sure the last thing that anybody would want to see is him basically wipe up a bunch of mid to low major competition. I got college basketball on the brain, so that's why I'm saying mid to low major, and basically just, become a Grand Prix champion just by default.
Not from that lot. I doubt Bader goes to RIZIN. They don't have a big appetite for signing Western fighters anymore, and not to mention he's a former Bellator fighter, so I really don't want him to go there.
that would be the one that gives me the victory. That's hilarious. For the fans that don't know what we're talking about.
Bet going about. Although it's the number of fighters from Bellator that might be signed to RIZIN. Although the terms have been extended to an unreasonable amount of time.
Bader would be
in any case, I doubt it's going to happen. Bader probably ends up in GFL, maybe BKFC. Those are his better options, I think.
But he fits the criteria of what Sakaki Barasan, the CEO of Epic RIZIN, was talking about for the guy that they were going to plug in for the winner of the heavyweight Grand Prix to fight at New Year's Eve. with the. Remember, he said he had a convincing career. So to me, that screams. And then all of a sudden, Bader's talking about, yes, they're talking with RIZIN right now. So to me, that's the guy that they're talking about. It fits what Bargoat was saying.
And I think his comments were taken, like, built up into more than what it is. I think he just made a throwaway comment about, sure, I'd like to fight RIZIN. It wasn't like they had discussions. I
think they did. I think there was a comment where he was talking about this. People were talking to them. They were talking to RIZIN. So
I'm not holding my breath.
Okay.
But that might be taken out of context. But let's just think about this here. If not Ryan Bader, then who would be able to fill that void for a potential opportunity to fight to crown the first RIZIN heavyweight champion?
Well, we're supposed to get, remember Zach in the RIZIN Discord has said that this week we're probably getting an announcement for the final 2 heavyweight Grand Prix combatants, right? Either this week or next week. So, there's a bunch of guys out there. You know who I want? I want some Fader team fighters. I want the Fader team guys in there, And also, go ahead.
Say I want Fedor team fighters, but I think those guys might be a little too experienced,
Well, I guess, but also they're big names, and also Rosenstruck's out there, free agent right now. Also
again, he off the floor with the rest of those guys. You have to have low expectations for this heavyweight tournament. If they build it up as just something for fun for up and coming Asian fighters, which is pretty much what it is, fine. It's not like a big heavyweight tournament like what Glory's doing this week. A massive tournament with most of the best heavyweights in the world in Glory Kickboxing, or what BKFC was talking about doing later this year, some massive tournament which was open weight and had multi-million-dollar purses. I'm going to keep low expectations on this and just think of it as a fun thing. I have much more. I'm looking forward to the flyweight Grand Prix much more.
Nice. Well, me, I love them. I love Grand Prix, so I'm looking forward to them both. But we'll see who the final 2 combatants are. So, I think you guys are writing off some of the talent that's already in there. They got, dude, they got some good fighters, international guys. I'm just curious to see who the final 2 combatants are. What if there are 2 good guys and they put them on opposite sides of the bracket for the most experienced guys in the final 2 slots, and then for the way they match out the bracket, they get like the least experienced guys together, and then like it branches out like that. We'll see how it goes. We'll see what the final 2 combatants are, and then I think it would make sense to bring in some Fader team guys, and that way, if one of them wins, and then they face Bader on New Year's Eve, that would give the heavyweight belt legitimacy. And to me, that's why Bargoat, that's Kakabara-san, I call him Bargoat, he's one of the GOATs promoters, but that's why he was saying that the New Year's Eve opponent for the winner of the heavyweight Grand Prix is going to be someone with a convincing career. Because he's talking about he wants to give the heavyweight belt and the Epic RIZIN heavyweight belt legitimacy like the other belts have right now. Because, it seems like, now that Kyoji has gone over to the UFC as well, it's like if you win a title in the Epic RIZIN, you're going to get called up to the UFC. So that's it just adds prestige to the division. So and Bader would do that, and so would the Fader team guys. So would Rosenstruck. It just and in a heavyweight, in a Grand Prix, especially when there's a one night final where the semis and final are on the same night. I know you guys think that these young guns are too inexperienced, but I don't know, man. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Let's see who the final 2 combatants are. So,
yeah, definitely. Now let's go ahead and move on to would it be best to just basically talk about this featherweight fight and the fact that it was just basically one-sided?
No, it was real quick. It was a fantastic performance by Hagiwara. Knocks him out.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Kyohei Hakiwara knocked out Toby Too Quick Misek in 32 seconds. But considering the fact that, this fight ended so quick, and Toby basically said, I didn't come all the way out to Hawaii to take an ass whooping that quick. I mean, let's just face it. Does Toby Misek deserve another opportunity to shine in RIZIN? Because now this leads to what, about 3 times that Hawaiian fighters in RIZIN have fought and lost in the promotion.
Well, I mean, sure. You want to go first, Joe? Yeah, of course. I mean, especially if they're gonna do a RIZIN Hawaii event. I mean, if they do, then yeah, bring it back, 100%. I mean, why not? But for me, the story is Hagiwara scoring the KO. Is he going to be Mikiru's opponent for the Dome show on the 4th? He took no damage.
I can't really say that because, again, I know Japan don't give a damn about records, but Hagiwara is 8-10 overall. I don't think that he'll be even, qualified to face off against Mikuru Asakura. He probably would need to face somebody else if there's a spot open for him on that Tokyo Dome show. But I seen the Combat Sports Today post saying that Hurricane Shane Burgos, Lance the Party Palmer, and Bubba Badman Jenkins, all 3 of them former PFL and Bellator guys, want to face off against Mikuru Asakura. I don't know. Maybe that's just Billy Bigelow talking, but still, though, I think that those 3 guys, either one of them, would be better opponents for Miku Asakura than Kyohei Hagiwara would, to be honest, right?
Well, I mean, Hagiwara is a name in Japan. He's an exciting fire name, and haven't they fought before, right? So there's kind of like already a rivalry there. So, I mean, if they can't, I mean, I would love it if they got those guys you were talking about. If that is not just Billy Biggs, talking big, but I mean, who knows? If they do, yes, definitely do that instead. But if not, then yeah, plug Hagiwara in there. It's for everybody wants to get on the Dome show. It's going to be at the Tokyo Dome. It's like, remember for CMAC bouts in the UFC were red panty nights. What should we call them for the Tokyo Dome show, Mikiru? Black panty nights?
No, I think it would be the Big Egg Special.
Okay, there you go. The Big Egg Special. To make sure it's not scrambled.
Yeah, Cup Noodle Bowl.
There you go. Yes.
KBF, you got anything to say about this particular fight and the possibility of many fighters wanting to face off against Mikuru?
Hagiwara was impressive, fast KO like that is always fun. I mean, Hagiwara, is he a former kickboxer?
He trained in kickboxing. I don't know if he has actual kickboxing fights on his record.
Okay.
Does he have an open finger glove belt?
Nope. He does.
Okay, never mind.
The guy you're referencing in Ren Sugiyama, aka Yaman, he just got his face wrecked by Miguel Trindade in a Rise card the day before,
Yeah. Yeah, so and he was rumored to be a Mikiru Asakura opponent as well for the Dome show, right?
Yeah, but that happened because he got knocked out by a Glory fighter.
And then also Chihiro was also rumored to be being plugged in for that bout, but of course we saw what happened. He got robbed against Doubtbeck, so that's off now. So to me, Hagiwara is a Japanese name, popular fighter. If they don't get the guys that Billy Biggs was talking about, I mean, why not? So, and JBF's absolutely correct. That was an awesome KO. It's always fun when he gets a first round 30-second knockout like that. That was great for Hagiwara's stock. So, I mean, I don't know. I like him. I'm biased. I like Hagiwara. He's a good fighter, and he's popular in Japan. So, plus, he charied one of my favorite RIZIN events, if not my favorite RIZIN event of all time, RIZIN Trigger First. That was their first cage event, and Hagiwara got this. He charied that bout with a sensational grounded kick KO to finish that card. So, that I have a soft spot for Hagiwara, 100%.
And again, JBF. Out to ask, do you think that Toby Misek gets another opportunity to fight in RIZIN?
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, getting knocked out that quickly, I can't remember if other fighters have been brought back after a loss like that, foreign fighters. I mean, there's a million like him, Hawaiians or other. I wonder how they pick sometimes some of these Westerners that they do cherry pick to come over and be opponents for some of these Japanese fighters. So who knows?
Come to think of it, maybe Shingo Kashiwagi is that much of a hardcore fan that he's just basically looking at old fight footage, fights from all over the world, from agents basically sending him all this shit just to basically say, hey, I got a guy out here, I got a guy out there, they would love to come out to RIZIN and do damage, only to get damaged themselves.
Wait, didn't they hold tryouts in Hawaii before?
Yes.
Remember where Zach Zane came from and stuff, right?
Yeah, 3 years ago. I mentioned that to Toby. He said that he wasn't a part of it.
Oh, okay. Okay, I was wondering if he was or not. I couldn't remember, so.
I think the answer is it doesn't matter if Toby Misek comes back because nobody's going to care either way. It's the story's Hagiwara.
Exactly,
No offense to Misek,
100%.
but the story's Hagiwara.
Yes.
So I'm saying that the interviews that myself and Andrew Benjamin did with him are pretty much moot, right?
Well, look, what they do a RIZIN Hawaii show? I mean,
yeah, sure. If he's Hawaiian, sure, why not?
Okay, there you go.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if anything, I don't know, because it's like Toby said to me, there's a lot of red tape that needs to be cut before that even happens.
Yeah, I know, but
I'm not holding my breath for that.
Yeah, exactly. We're not gonna hold our breath.
If UFC still won't do it, maybe BKFC will be there next. I think they're the ones that are willing to go here, there,
and everywhere, right? But still, though, let me go ahead.
Hey, if they do a Hawaii show for BKFC, I bet you they'll have some RIZIN collaboration on that one. That's pretty close to Japan, right? I mean, they got a big Japanese presence in Hawaii. That's why RIZIN was targeting doing a RIZIN Hawaii event. So maybe at BKFC, if they do Hawaii, it's like a stepping stone to doing a Japan show. Maybe they'll continue the collaboration with RIZIN on that show. I mean, just a thought.
Yeah, the thing, not to get on a tangent, but the thing with BKFC now is they have so many plans. It's like the UFC now. Like you see these journalists at the press conferences. Hey, Dana, when are you coming back to Germany, or fill in the city? When are you coming back to Kansas City, Missouri, or whatever? It's like there's only 52 weeks a year. They only do 42 cards. They've got a bunch of places that they like. Some are home. Some are places that are paying them to show up. Some are big money. Sheiks that are paying them to go there. So all these other dozens of places. If you live in, name a town that's not one of the main towns, you're lucky to see them once a year.
Mm-hmm. And I mean,
yeah, I'm spoiled here in LA. They come here. This is like one of their staple towns right here is LA.
Yeah, but I'm old enough to actually remember a decade ago where they did 2 shows and I think 1 day just to get noticed.
Yeah. Okay. You know what? I could tell you for sure. I don't remember what year that happened, but I remember this. It was probably around 2012 or 13 because I remember what house I was living in and when I lived there. So between 2012 and 2015 for sure. They did a card it was in Germany. Mm-hmm. And that one was in the afternoon, and it was on, I think, Fight Pass at the time. And then they did an evening card, and that was when they were on still with Fox. Mm-hmm. And they did a card. This one was from one of the smaller towns in Brazil, and that one was on like Fox Sports 1. And I remember getting up in the morning and watching the first one. I had like a half an hour to go. I took a dip in my pool just to refresh myself. And another 7 hours of fights. I was like, by the end of the day, I was like, this is ridiculous. Why are they doing this? They got 2 crews and 2 different continents, and good news is they stopped after they did it once or twice. Never again. It's too much. I mean, you don't need 2 fight cards from the same promotion in one day. It's just exhausting as a fan. Never mind if you're betting it or working it or anything like that. I mean, the BKFC thing, I'm okay with because it's 2 days back to back, and it's not like they do it all the time.
Yeah. I mean, that's understandable, especially considering the fact that you can't have Dana White do 2 press conferences in one day either.
Oh, he did. Believe me, he had somebody else. But let's go back to RIZIN anyway.
Yeah. And in particular, let's go to the fight where this particularly happened. Hold on just a second. I mean, I'm trying to get the sound clip ready. But still, though, let's go to the fight where this happened. Hope I don't get a copyright strike. What it's called because it's awesome. That
Yes.
That is the literal voice of one Michael Schiavello shouting "me out" before, of course, Takeshi Yokoyama took an ass whooping. And that ass whooping happened in 53 seconds of round number 1 at the hands of Shuya Kimura, who knocked him out, upping his undefeated first round knockout streak to 5 wins, by the way. Of course, that was Yokoyama coming out to Electric Light Orchestra's "Hello, Mr. Blue Sky." And of course, Yokoyama is now 6-2. But still, though, about this particular fight, enough about me getting shouted out by Michael Schiavello. I'm still on cloud 9 when it comes down to that shit. But when it comes down to Kimura, what do you think the potential is for him? Because again, 5 knockouts, 5 consecutive first round victories to start his career, future contender written all over him. I mean, this dude was basically showing off in his RIZIN debut. Do you think that he might end up getting an opportunity to fight again down the line?
James, go ahead.
Me first? Okay. Yeah, this one went fast. It was another fun fight. I didn't know what to expect. I wasn't that familiar with him. I don't remember if he fought in RIZIN before or were all his other knockouts elsewhere in Japan.
No, this is RIZIN debut.
Okay, that's why I didn't recognize him right off the bat because I don't watch all the Japanese other regional promotions. But yeah, I was impressed. I hope they book him again. He's coming off a fast knockout. He's got a name. Maybe it's just a coincidence that it sounds familiar to fans of MMA. I don't know if he's somebody's son or whatever, but yeah, put him on one of the upcoming cards. Let's give him another bout.
Okay, and Jay Wolf, I know that you probably enjoyed every second of that particular fight. Even to the walkout of Schiavello.
One of the highlights of the night. Here in Schiavello shout you out like that so prominently. That was awesome. It really felt like we all made it when that happened. It was cool. Only would have been better is if he would have said "Focus Fights, J. Christian Gary."
Would have been better was if Kobe Misa would have won that fight against Hagiwara.
Yeah, but this one, Kimura, you're absolutely right, is a rising star now, a breakout star, fantastic performance. I didn't think he was going to do it. I thought he was going to be too young, but man, no, he just showed out, fantastic finish, and just we got another young gun, rising star on our hands.
I mean, yeah, I can understand that. I mean, considering the fact that this fight was his second shortest fight in his career so far, 54-second knockout. I mean, I'm probably going to say outright that the sky's the limit for him, just as long as he keeps his P's and Q's straight.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. The kids got a bright future in the Epic RIZIN. 100%.
Now, as Takeshi Yokoyama goes, what do you do with him?
I mean, to put him on a landmark or something, I don't know, where they do the vets versus young guns. That's how Sakakibara likes to do it. So Yeah, I mean, bring him back if you want to. If not, I mean, whatever.
I mean, come to think of it, he is the Fighting Nexus featherweight champion, so I don't know. I mean, the dude is also 1-2 in RIZIN, so would you say that this is the end of his contract for the promotion, or do you think that he'll probably return?
It depends. I mean, how was he super exciting those other two bouts? That's obviously what Sakakibara-san and Shingo-san that's what they look for. If he's an exciting
Well,
fighter, they'll bring him back.
he
If he's
submitted
just
he submitted to Kuya Yokoyama at RIZIN 42 in May of 2023, and then in September of 2023 lost to Kazumasa Maijima.
okay, so he's got to finish. So, I mean, I can see them bringing him back 100%. Yes, I think they'll give him another chance. Like I said, probably on a RIZIN landmark card or something where they like to match up the vets and the prospect, like they did in this bout right here, vet versus a prospect. So, I mean, we'll see how the future goes.
Okay, and I guess we're all done with talking about that fight, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was a quick knockout, sensational performance by Kimura, and now he's a RIZIN got another young gun RIZIN star. Well, here we go. This is the bout I want to talk about right here. This is a good one.
This was basically a fight of the year candidate that went down on this card. Yuki Ito defeating Tony Laramie. I don't know why it says split decision on there when it's supposed to be unanimous decision. But that fight was just incredible to watch live, It was incredible just to see every single second of these two just throwing hands, just beating the shit out of each other, giving each other hell for 3 rounds at 130 pounds, especially in the lead up to the RIZIN Flyweight Grand Prix coming up.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. It was, dude, total fight of the year candidate. We had 2 of them on this card. This one was, I mean, undeniable fight of the year candidate and just action packed the whole time. Super impressive. Both guys in their 20s. Just, I mean, just all out brawl, all out war in this one. It was just, man, it was fun. It was a lot of fun and impressive win for Ito. I thought it was the correct decision, and it was an impressive win for Ito. And I know what you're going to ask. You're going to ask what's next for him. Put them both in the Flyweight Grand Prix.
I mean, come to think of it, Tony Laramie did post on Instagram saying this is the first time I lost in 7 years, and I'm going to come back even stronger.
Good. So he's motivated to come back. So put him in the Flyweight Grand Prix and put him on opposite brackets so that they, if they do a rematch, they'll be later on in the tournament.
Oh, yeah, of course. I would definitely pay top dollar just to see that shit.
Oh, yeah. JDF, what do you think about it? I know you were loving it too.
Yeah, this was a great fight. I don't know why it was 130-pound catch weight. I don't know if somebody took this late or because, their flyweight bouts are usually 125 or 127 or whatever it is, whatever it works out to in kilograms. It was very exciting. And Ito was a small underdog, as a matter of fact, and he pulled it off. And it was a unanimous decision. So they should both, cut those extra couple pounds. And, yeah, they're doing a Flyweight Grand Prix. Put them both in. They deserve it. I don't know how many other participants they're going to have. Is it 8 or 16? But, yeah, let's do it.
I'm going to think of it. If they got it spread out in July and then September and then hopefully 2 fights or actually 3 fights in one night in December, the semifinals and the finals. I know that you would probably be salivating off of that, Jay Wolf.
You know I am, and JDF is 100% correct. They should do a 16-man Flyweight Grand Prix, and they might be because, like you're saying, Jay Krish, it's going to be 3. They have 3 dates for the Flyweight Grand Prix. Meanwhile, for the Heavyweight Grand Prix, which is only 8 combatants, they only have 2 dates, and then the winner is supposed to be facing the possibly Ryan Bader or somebody on New Year's Eve. So to me, that means that since the Flyweight Grand Prix is going to have 3 dates with it culminating in New Year's Eve for the final, that to me says 16-man Grand Prix. And the Combat Sports News fam, they tweeted out a huge list of fighters they want in the Grand Prix. We in the RIZIN Discord, we showed there was plenty of talent that they could sign for a 16-man Grand Prix. Daniel Zubicki, our Polish bro, he was talking about it, listing them. Yabdin in the RIZIN Discord was talking about listing fighters, and just a bunch of I think JVF, did you list a bunch of fighters? I mean, everybody was listing a bunch of fighters. So, and I tweeted to the RIZIN FF English X account I was pleading. I was like, pretty please with sugar on top. Make it a 16-man Grand Prix. Because there's plenty of talent. It would be just awesome. So, yeah, JB, I hope you're right 100%. 16-man, and both these guys, 100%, definitely should be in it. And will be. I almost guarantee it.
And by the way, that is going to be the end date for the first season of the RIZIN Fantasy League. Originally I was thinking it would be over by the end of the year, New Year's Eve card, right? We go from the New Year's Eve card where we kicked it off, at the beginning of this year, right? But if the Grand Prix goes past that, naturally it makes sense for the league to end when the flyweight Grand Prix ends. So if they do it within the year, then we're okay.
They will. They're going to. They do it. They're going to do it within the year. It's going to end on New Year's Eve, so it'll work out perfect for the fantasy league.
There you go. Perfect.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I can't wait. This year is the 10-year anniversary of RIZIN's founding, and they're really going to do it big, and it's going to be awesome. I just can't wait, man. I just wish they didn't stop. They waited until the freaking April, March 30th for their first event, dude. That's I mean, I want to give them a subscription, you guys. I want to pay them subscription money, and they can't be taking 4 months off in between. I mean, it's just I need more.
Very Bellator-esque.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course. Now, when it comes down to, that particular fight versus Laramie being a firefight, let's just say this one probably makes people want to wish child services was on standby. Yoshiro Maeda making Sano Yokochi, the young boy, tap out. 2 minutes, 56 seconds of round number 3. I mean, granted, Maeda, let's just say he probably might be a shoo-in experience-wise for the Flyweight Grand Prix if it were to go to 16 men. But as far as Yokochi goes, who is nothing more but the Koshien tournament winner, the high school tournament winner, I mean, I just got to ask, do you think Onigiri-kun needs to have more experience away from RIZIN?
No, hell no. He won the Koshien tournament. And this was his bout. This was like his teaching bout. Like this they put my head in there to teach the rice ball kid, to give him a lesson, basically. The rice ball kid was either going to win or he was going to be taught a lesson. And obviously what happened was he got taught a lesson by a gritty veteran that has so much experience, fought in every promotion under the sun. So it was a good teachable moment for him. And no, hell no, don't send him anywhere. Keep bringing. He's a great, charismatic fighter, very popular with the fans already. If you notice from the pre-fight stuff they were doing, so definitely do not have him fight anywhere else but RIZIN. I don't care if he lost against I mean, how many fights did Maeda have going into that? It was like 40 plus, right? So, I mean, 60. Come on. Yeah, 60 plus. Okay, even more. It was 40th win, right?
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So that was, that was quite an experience, Gab. But that's how Japanese they love to do it. They love to throw their young gun prospects right into the fire, sink or swim, and just that's how they do it. So, but yeah, definitely bring Rice Ball Kid back and throw them both in the Flyweight Grand Prix if you want.
Again, that dates back to the whole problem with Edipolo King. If you want to put Sano Yokochi in there, I mean, again.
Well, we're gonna need alternates, bro. We're gonna remember the alternates. You got to have a couple alternates.
And in this case, you got an 0-1 fighter who's basically as green as goose shit, basically wanting to. But he should be getting a RIZIN flyweight Grand Prix opportunity. I think he'd be barking up the wrong tree, you know?
As an alternate, though, not in the main field, as an alternate. JB, what'd you say when you had a comment on that?
I think if they shouldn't be in the tournament, they shouldn't be an alternate either. You know, an alternate.
Okay. You guys want the alternates to be viable candidates as well?
Yeah,
huh?
they should be reasonably experienced fighters who could have a shot. You don't want to have someone who's that young or inexperienced. I mean, the difference in experience in this bout was ridiculous. And it cost Jay Wolf in the fantasy league because he got finished, and so you actually lost points.
I know. I'm so pissed. I overpaid for him too. I overpaid because I wanted to snag him in the fantasy league because I know he's young. He's gonna be fighting a bunch, so I wanted to snag him.
But you know what, Jeff? I just gotta ask, and I'm looking at the odds right now, even though I'm not really that much of a betting man. But your coach, he was the moderate minus 200 favorite. Do you think that he could have stood a chance against an opponent of equal or lesser talent?
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, Jeff, can you hear me?
I think when you have someone that young and that inexperienced, give him someone with 5 or 10 fights, not with 40 or 50 fights.
Well, he has a good amateur record, and he won the Koshin tournament. So it's not like he has no experience. He's just getting off the couch. So.
Yeah. I mean, there are luckily RIZIN, just like Bellator used to be. They can be their own developmental league. They could take a young fighter and match him appropriately, in my opinion, with someone with a lot less experience than this opponent, Maeda. And give him fights that he has a chance at and build him up, just like, say, Bellator did with AJ McKee. He ended up being a champion, but they gave him a bunch of fights along the way of progressively, harder difficulty and more experienced opponents. RIZIN can do the same thing. You got a young Japanese kid, he'd be fighting for years. Maybe he's popular. Who knows how many social media followers he has and all that they're attracted to. Give him somebody, but not Maeda or somebody that experienced.
But see, the Japanese, that's how they like to do it. They like to, what JBF is saying with AJ McKee. That's I agree, guys. That's the way to build him up. You build up slowly over how many fights did it take him to get 5 to 10 fights, right? That they build him up in Bellator for a title fight. Yeah, exactly. So to me, that's the way to do it. But the Japanese, they take this approach where they just throw them right into the fire, sink or swim, and I think that they're thinking that it's it builds them up quicker than doing it the slower way with AJ McKee. But I don't think it's. I mean, they do that with all their prospects. It seems like it's maybe they thought this kid was going to be because he had such a good amateur record. Maybe they thought that it was more competitive, but. I mean, it was. I mean, we were talking about on the previous shows, dude, it's either going to be it's a sink or swim right into the firefight. It's going to be either Surprise Ball Kid scores a sensational victory, or he's going to get taught a lesson, and obviously got taught a lesson.
I mean, he was knocked out in his deep 116 fight, according to Topology, right before the RIZIN debut. So, they got to build him up.
In the RIZIN Koshin tournament was a bounce back fight.
Yeah.
No, he won the Koshin tournament, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying he got knocked out in the fight before that.
Oh, okay. I see. Okay. There you go. Yeah. Okay, gotcha.
Right.
But one more thing before we move off this bout. I agree with you guys about, especially for a flyweight Grand Prix, because the flyweight Grand Prix is going to be, levels above what the heavyweight Grand Prix is going to be, because they got some younger guys, more lesser experienced guys in the heavyweight Grand Prix. But the flyweight Grand Prix is going to be very experienced guys. So I agree with you guys that even for the alternates, they should have experienced guys for that. But I think for the heavyweight Grand Prix, I think Ed Polo King would be okay with the alternate bout. But I agree with you on the flyweight Grand Prix. Maybe it'd be too much for even a young kid, rising prospect like Rice Ball Kid.
And you know what? Come to think of it, going back to the subject of the Flyweight Grand Prix, Kyoji Horiguchi obviously made the announcement over the weekend. It's been officially made official that he will be going back to the UFC after they realized the ball they dropped and picked it back up. So now Kyoji's hoping to go back to the UFC to defend the honor of Kid Yamamoto and give Japan something to cheer for as the first, hopefully the first UFC world champion from Japan. But now, what does that mean for the RIZIN Flyweight Grand Prix? I mean, obviously, you got a whole bunch of fighters wanting to be a part of it. Obviously, Combat Sports Today put out their story. You know, Jose Shorty Torres has a fight scheduled for May 31st, and he probably might be busy, but depending on his future plans, who knows of his availability for that particular tournament, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's going to be in July, so even though he's fighting May, that gives him two months to get ready. Depends on when the fight is in July. But Sakaki
Well,
Barasan, CEO of RIZIN,
it might be less than 2 months if he ends up, wanting to take part in Brave CF and then ended up fighting in RIZIN.
well, it just depends on what the timetable is, but he should be in part of the Flyweight Grand Prix, 100%. He already fought for RIZIN before, so definitely got to bring him, put him in the Flyweight Grand Prix. But Sakaki Barasan said that now, since Kyoji is going back to the UFC, that now the Flyweight Grand Prix is going to be like the focus is they want to crown the next Flyweight champion, and they're going to elevate the Grand Prix winner to be the Flyweight champion. Because before, they would do, it's a separate belt. It's a Flyweight, it's a Grand Prix belt, and then they also have a championship belt, right? This one for the Flyweight Grand Prix, now that Kyoji is going to the UFC, is going to be for all the marbles, basically, in the Flyweight division.
That would make sense because of the fact that, in order to make it high stakes, you got to make it high reward. And from looking at the Combat Sports Today tweet about this, the list of fighters they got for a potential Grand Prix. They got Hiromasa Ogikubo, John Dodson, Jose Shorty Torres, Kazumulo Zulu, Makoto Shinryu Takahashi, Tony Laramie, Yuki Ito, Rogelio Bontorin, Muhammad Mokayev, which I highly doubt is going to happen because of the fact that he's locked into Karate Combat and Brave CF, Fumi Turbo Nakuda, who's currently fighting for Cage Fury and is fast-tracked to possibly join the UFC. Also, you got Bilal Hassan and Carlos Mota that could also be a part of this tournament as well. But come to think of it, when it comes down to those names, I mean, aside from the names we know are possibly shoo-ins to win this tournament, Dotson, Torres, Shinryu, Ogikubo, I mean, who do you think would be the biggest wild card when it comes down to this, if this were to get made right off of those names that I mentioned?
Oh, Mokayev, if they could collaborate with Karate Combat, which I thought they did before with the heavyweight guy, right?
Yeah. Tony Jarabek was a non-starter. Let's be real.
But he was coming from Karate Combat, and the Karate Combat CEO, President Asim or President Awesome, he said under when one championship and Shatri Sitsandong was talking trash on after his show on who was it, Kato, that was talking shit on Kaito?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. After that, Sakaki Barasan rightly defended Kaito and was saying, hey, this guy. And then after that, President Asim or President Awesome from Karate Combat tweeted underneath that comment saying, hey, somebody get me in touch with this man. So, I mean, dude, there could be their collaboration. Could they? I mean, they said that they've allowed their fighters to fight in different promotions before. It's not like they're like exclusive to Karate Combat. So, I mean, I like that list that Combat Sports Today News put out of fighters. There's some good guys on there. Then they're also talking about like guys like Burgos and who's the other one? Anyways, yeah, they had great lists.
Yeah, the
and
thing is, Burgos is a natural featherweight, as is Bubba Jenkins, as is Lance Palmer.
okay,
And
well then if they're that means they should stay at featherweight then, or because I
yeah,
mean
they
that
would most
flyweight's way too weight. That's two weight divisions underneath, so forget
yeah,
that.
they would be most likely to fight Miku Asakura. But then again, going back to the flyweight division, I mean, this could possibly be the opportunity to build new stars, and that's where I turn to you, Jay.
100%.
When it comes down to the names that I mentioned, I mean, let's just say if they're not a part of the Grand Prix or if they get let go in the Grand Prix along the way, who do you think out of those names that I just mentioned could be possible big stars if RIZIN were to get them on the hook, so to speak?
All whoever wins is going to become a star. And even if they don't win, if they put on sensational performances and they get to like the semifinals, they can still become a star. I mean, it's just the Grand Prix are sensational, and this one's going to be fantastic. I cannot wait. And you know what I was just thinking of? Since JBF is here, what if they bring back Pettis? what if Sergio Pettis comes back into the Grand Prix, and that wins the bet right there. That's why I want to put for my wild card. What do you think, JBF?
Yeah, it's a great field. A lot of great names. Mokaev would be interesting if they let him do it. I don't know if anybody's going to become a star. Some of these fighters are already named fighters. Star to me is a whole different level, but I think they're on the right track with Horiguchi leaving to go back to the UFC. Make this for the belt. It gives the Grand Prix even more legitimacy because they're having a tough tournament with 16 or maybe 8 if they go that route guys to for this belt. There's going to be a few Japanese fighters like Ogi Kubo. I'm sure he's a perennial in the flyweight division. They'll have a few international fighters, some of whom we've named, some of whom international fans know. So to me, this is a significant tournament, and if it's for the not just the trophy, but it's for the belt. So yeah, do it up. I think they should get everybody that they can. It'd be great if it was 16 fighters if they feel they can fill that kind of field. I'd love to see it. Oh, and then as far as Horiguchi, after his last fight, I gotta say he's going back to the UFC quite late. I'm not sure what his motivation is. I mean, I don't think he's going to the UFC to get more money. He's probably taking less money to go back to the UFC.
He probably is taking less money if he's not doing it for, the monetary obligations. He's definitely doing it to honor the memory of Noifumi Kid Yamamoto, who would have been a UFC contender. Obviously, we like to forget that damn UFC run that he had, but he was definitely a world name in the lighter weight classes before even the UFC gave a damn about 125 and 135 and 145, so to speak.
Yeah, he'll be interesting. I don't think it's going to be easy for Horiguchi to win the belt over there. He's gotten older. The division's evolved. There's a lot of great fighters in the flyweight division now. They've built it back up, and he looked beatable against Zulu. He got rocked once or twice in that fight. In his most recent fight, Horiguchi. So, but hey, let's see what he can do. He'll go back to the UFC. I mean, if he's doing it for the honor of Japan or whatever, if that's how he feels, good for him. I watch every UFC card anyway, so I'll enjoy it. But I think I would not put my money on him getting the belt back. They never should have got rid of him in the first place. That whole business with maybe we'll get rid of the flyweight division. To me, that was all nonsense. The flyweight division was always great, so let it be great in the UFC, and then we'll get a great tournament in RIZIN, and let's enjoy it.
100%. Well said, JV. And I seriously think it's going to be 16 men, and they're going to have a fantastic. You just mentioned Zulu, he's better be in it. So it's going to be awesome, and it is for the belt. Sakaki Barasan already confirmed it's for the belt, not just for a trophy. So it's just like you said, it's going to be awesome. It's definitely going to be just. I mean, I can't wait to see what the field is going to be. I can't wait till they announce it. I'm guessing they're going to announce the field at the Dome show. At May the 4th, Tokyo Dome for the intermission. What better place to announce what the entire most of the field for the flyweight Grand Prix? And they'll probably say it's going to be 16-man because remember, it's 3 dates. It's July and then another, and then it finishes up on New Year's Eve. Meanwhile, the heavyweight one is only 2 dates with 8, and that's July. And then the winner faces whoever on New Year's Eve. So it's going to be awesome. We're going to get 16-man. It's going to be sensational. I can't wait. And just everything you guys are saying is 100% right. So just it's going to be awesome.
Okay, well now we're down to 4 more fights to talk about.
Oh, is that it? Come on, let's do some more. Let's go another 2 hours.
We're at 1:45, Jay Wolf. We're good. He's right to keep it moving.
It's been late, so we gotta at least keep it moving, man. Still though, let's go ahead and talk about the fact that Fight Carlisle just wasn't there when it came down to this particular. Takeshi Izumi defeated him via unanimous decision, and I say that loosely because of the fact that Carlisle did fight decently, but here's 2 things. He missed weight, so he wasn't paid outright. I mean, even if he were to win this fight, it would have been a no contest, so it was a lose-lose situation. And secondly, as y'all probably might have heard in recent days, this fight was the last fight on his RIZIN contract. And I don't know if he plans to continue his run any longer in RIZIN or if he plans on going somewhere else, maybe back to the UFC, maybe into the PFL, who knows, but still though.
He said post-fight he wants to return to RIZIN. He did say that. So it just depends on if they bring him back. Yeah,
it does depend on if he gets brought back or not. But as far as Izumi goes, the winner of this fight, do you think that his win over a big name in Carlisle sets up his future success? JBF, you go first.
Well, I'll say this I'll start with Carlisle first. He's just one of those guys that got Westerners that got some popularity in RIZIN. I don't know what it is. They like his style or his red hair, whatever. But he's been a staple there, and it's a shame. This is not the first time he missed weight. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, no, he missed weight in Bellator.
Oh, okay.
It was his first time missing weight in RIZIN.
Okay.
He had missed weight in Bellator before.
But yeah, that cost him, and that was, by the way, going back to the fantasy league, that was one of the rules that are unique to the RIZIN fantasy league, unlike the UFC or the Bellator league that is now defunct. If you miss weight, you can't score any points in the league, just like you can't win the fight in real life. So Jay Wolf was the unfortunate.
I was so stoked that I scored. I was like, yes, I got my American fighter. And then he misses weight. And then it's his last fight of his contract, and he lays an egg in this fight.
At least he didn't get stopped. But I don't know if they'll bring him back. That's up to RIZIN if they like him. They take that weight miss pretty seriously, but he's been entertaining. So we'll see what happens with him. I don't know where else he would go at this point in his career, but I'm sure he wants to come back. Now, Izumi, I don't know how much experience he had in RIZIN before this without looking it up. But it's a good win, and same thing I said about some of the others. If he's not injured, put him in another fight coming up.
For Izumi, this was his second fight in RIZIN. The first was all the way back in his debut as a mixed martial artist. He got knocked out by Grant Bogdanov back at RIZIN Trigger the Third in April of 2022.
Okay, so it's been a little while. So yeah, if he wants to stay active, I'm sure he wants a better win than a unanimous decision. I mean, it did go the distance, but I'm sure he'll want to get back in there if he wants to be active. So yeah, make it happen.
But as far as Carlisle goes, in my opinion, there's very few places he would be able to go. Not to mention the fact that he's 31, and I feel like, I mean, as somebody who is 32, from my perspective, I feel like if you're not, ready to continue competing at that age, you might need to take some time off and just think of yourself,
Well, I mean, look, he's been a great fighter for RIZIN. He embraces the walkout. The fans love him. This was just, man, I was so disappointed. I couldn't believe one, he missed weight, and then in the fight, he just did not look good. I don't know if there was something going on in camp. Like, I was speculating, like maybe he was sick or something. I mean, it was just disappointing. And I mean, and he says he wants to come. I mean, and also Azumi, he credit to him, he won fair and square, dude. He won fair and square, and this definitely elevates his status in RIZIN, beating a name like Carlisle. It was a tough fighter, never been finished, and just a tough fighter. So that's a big win for Azumi. But man, disappointed about Carlisle. But I do hope they bring him back because he is good in RIZIN, especially with the Japanese fans, and just he's a good fighter, and just, man, that was disappointing. So I would definitely like that was not the way that I would like to see his RIZIN career end, and not just because I have him on my fantasy roster for the RIZIN FF Discord Fantasy League. So I mean, I would like to bring him back to see him another chance, 100%.
And now let's go ahead and move down the card and talk about not only the women's strawweight fight, but the only women's fight on the card. And that was Machi Fukuda knocking out the Felty Cat, Steel Young Park, via knockout. I think it was, knockout punches, 4 minutes, 6 seconds, round 2. Now, when it comes down to this fight, obviously, Machi advocated for more strawweight competitors in RIZIN, more women's strawweight competitors in RIZIN, but I'll take it a step further. Do you think that because of this win by Machi over the Felty Cat, that, there should be more focus on the women's divisions in RIZIN?
Yeah, I mean, JB, can I go first on this one?
You can go ahead and go first, JB.
Okay. Yeah, this one, we were saying it in the RIZIN Discord live when it was happening. This has saved RIZIN's women divisions. It was just so exciting. And remember, also, they announced that they were going to do 3 more Koshin tournaments. And one of them was going to be in the RIZIN Super Atomweight division, women's division. Super Atomweight, that could be a fighter that moonlights between both divisions. Can move up to the women's strawweight and can also fight at women's atomweight. And, that's why they got the Super RIZIN, Super Atomweight division for that tournament. So, they're clearly going to keep doing women's bouts. And this one just was such a credit to I was so happy with this one, man. It was absolutely sensational. She scored. She knew the assignment, and it was super exciting. And like I was saying in the intro, her TKO had 12-6 elbows in it, a bunch of grounded knees, and then she finished on top with punches pounding her out. It was just, man, it was sensational. And me and JVF, we were always joking about the women's divisions and how the running joke is that if it's a women's fight, bet on the decision. Bet it's going to decision, and unless it's under the superior rule set. And as we just seen with this fight, it just totally proved that fun joke theory about women's being exciting if they got the superior rule set. It was just, man, I was just so thrilled with this one. It was so fun. It even got me to tweet about it. I usually don't. I usually just watch the fights and just retweet and stuff. But man, this one got me. I was like, man, what a sensational performance by Machi. I was saying about how the hell, and also I for the final when they're asking questions of what was the fight of the nights and the performance of the nights, this was definitely for me the finish of the night. Man, it was just freaking awesome all around. And yes, there's going to be more women's divisions in the future, and Machi might have single-handedly saved it because the other women's stars like Reina and Izawa might be going to UFC. Reina's probably retiring, so Machi's going to be the one that carries it forward in the future, and whatever happens with this Koshin tournament too. So it was just, man, it was awesome all the way around on this one.
Okay, and JBF, what are your thoughts about this particular fight?
Yeah, Machi was the biggest favorite on the card, aside from Ed King Polo, and the fight played out that way. She stomped her opponent basically. So yeah, she looked great. By the way, I disagree with what Jay Wolf said. He exaggerates how often the women's fights go to decision. They actually finish. Obviously, not as often as the male fights or the heavier male fights, but there are many spots where the fights do finish. So this is a good example. And also, I just like to make a side note. 12-6 elbows are legal now, even under the unified rules, if you want to call them that, as Jay Wolf says. So
Yes,
they do not count as a superior rule set awesomeness. 12-6 elbow is just a regular finish for the record.
Hey, there was grounded knees in there, though. Remember, the grounded knees count as superior rule set.
Well, I'm going to have to go back and rewatch it. But, yeah, she did a great job. She got her out of there. I don't know if Machi could make super atomweight, because that's really their only weight class, right? This is sort of a one-off at strawweight, so they don't really have a division. It's kind of like what Bellator did. They had a flyweight and a featherweight. Then they had a few oddball strawweight, atomweight, or other fights.
Oddball just begins to scratch the surface. I mean, last time I checked, I remember when Bellator hired an actual fetish-inducing adult film star to compete in one of their bouts. It was just like complete gag me with a spoon worthy bullshit, you know?
Yeah, but that's Bellator. We're talking about RIZIN. And what weight is a super atom weight? Is it 112?
No, it's 108. Atomweight's 105.
No. I thought atom weight's 108 and then super atom weight. Oh.
Atomweight in the unified rules is 105. That, for whatever reason, I think because of Rena back in the day, she couldn't make 105 easily. So RIZIN made super atomweight. Just like in boxing, you add the word super and you add 2 or 3 pounds. And that makes the next weight class. So super atomweight's 108, which is whatever the equivalent is in kilograms. So,
well, but remember the Japanese weight classes are like you were saying earlier for Laramie and Ito, about how it was a catchweight of 130, and like normally for flyweight it's like 127.
Yeah, it's off by the kilograms. It makes it off by like 1 or 2 pounds. But they call it super atom weight because it's a full 3 pounds or a little bit more greater than the normal atom weight, which is 105.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. So anyway. I thought atom weight was like 108, and then super atom weight was over 110. So
think about it that way because you watch RIZIN and you just forget the word super. But that's what super doesn't mean great. Super means like, just like in boxing, welterweight is 147. Super welterweight or junior middleweight is 154. So that's where the super part comes from.
Okay, that makes sense then. Well, I hope it's not a one-off. I hope they start signing some more strawweight, because that is a major. There's a lot of talent in strawweight division. I mean, we got Invicta is also coming up this Friday, and they've collaborated with RIZIN in the past. They have an excellent strawweight division, 115 pounds, and they could send some girls over. So Combate Global as well is back. They just had an all-female card as well. It's pretty exciting, and there was strawweights on that belt, and there was atomweights on that. Both Invicta and Combate Global, they have atomweights and strawweights. So there's talent out in the world, is what I'm saying. So Machi, I don't think it's just a one-off. I think they might start building the division, possibly. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, they also got Deep Jewels in Japan that has those divisions as well. So there's some girls. They could make it. And this coaching tournament is at super atomweight. So they're definitely not abandoning the women. They're going to have women fights going forward, even post Reina when she retires, and if Izawa goes to the UFC. So they're not going to abandon the women. No way.
A bit, Jay. You say they're not going to get rid of the women's strawweight division. They're not going to really get rid of the women's division. That's understandable. But what about the men's strawweight division? If you want to really call it that, there is a division for the pack mules now that Haruo Ochi defeated Nobuyoshi Nov Nakasukata 25 seconds at round number 3 via knockout. I mean, come to think, oh, wait, actually not via knockout, but via submission, which, oh, by the way, that submission was due to a guillotine choke. I mean, Jay, you want to go ahead and talk about this?
Oh yeah, no, it's freaking awesome. I don't know if they'll make a men's strawweight division. I mean, how is the talent out there? I know one championship has some men's strawweight. I know there's, in
thing when it comes down to that down one championship. Their strawweight division is basically the equivalent of atomweight. No, it's basically the equivalent of flyweight under the unified rules.
Right. So, but there are strawweight fighters out there. So I don't know. I mean, it just depends on how many there are, and would RIZIN want to make that division? And if they did, just like with the women's atomweight, they'd have all the best talent at that division, right? With Ochi as well. I mean, it just is it Ochi? Isn't he a champion in was Deep or something?
I think he was a champion, and let me go ahead and check. He is the current Deep strawweight champion.
Okay, so there's already a division in Deep. So maybe, I mean, I don't know. I mean, if he puts on more performances, he got to finish. So if he keeps putting on exciting performances, maybe it'll force the hand of the Epic RIZIN to create the strawweight division for men. Just like Machi puts on an exciting performance, and it's going to force their hand to bring in some more women in the strawweight division for women.
Yeah, so Jay, when it comes down to this particular division, unlike the women's equivalent, with the men, you're barely going to find any of these small fighters, these small male fighters competing unless they're out in the furthest reaches of Asia, or some of them probably might be down in South America looking to take up Muay Thai.
Then they'll probably just be one-off bouts like this. Then
yeah.
So,
I mean,
now, go ahead, JBF. What were you gonna say?
JBF, you got any thoughts about this particular fight or the fact that men's strawweight being a thing?
Well, I was lucky enough that I picked up Ochi for the fantasy league for $1, so I got my value out of him getting a finish. I was very happy about that. Yeah, I mean, it was an exciting fight. I don't really think there's enough of a roster on RIZIN or around the world unless they forced it to really sign a whole division. But sure, if he's Japanese, put him if he wants to compete, and he's being lent from the other organization. Let him compete again on one of the upcoming cards. All they need to do is find a good opponent for him, and they don't need a whole division, and just do it like that.
I mean, point proven, especially considering the fact that they're not going to book a champion in this rare unicorn of a division anytime soon, just like they have problems with trying to get fighters from 70 kilos on up or 155 pounds on up. But then again, it bears at least seeing more than once, make this rare thing a occurrence, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, and also for the fantasy league, I mean, JBF, you cleaned up this was your round this time. You went up and down on everything, dude. You did some good job on that fantasy league this time. So, if they fight him again, if not, then what are you gonna do, JBF? Are you gonna just drop him or trade him or what?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Hold on to him. And see if hopefully they'll announce. I mean, he's in my open weight slot anyway, so we'll see. Hopefully they'll announce a fight for him, and I don't have to drop him.
Nice. Yeah,
I got to drop Horiguchi. That's why I have to drop.
I know. I'm gonna have to drop Spike. How terrible is that? We're gonna have to both drop two of our favorites on our roster. Oh shoot, Man, JB, I say it enough how much fun, extra fun, the fantasy league that you brought to the RIZIN Discord is. I want to thank you again while we're live on air for it. It's just awesome.
Oh, well, I'm glad you're enjoying it. It's fun to do. I did 2 seasons of Bellator, and that was fun, and I took the inspiration from that.
Nice. And we're very thankful for it. It's awesome.
Now, let's go ahead and talk about the opening fight of this main card, which, to quote a mentor of mine that I used to enjoy listening to on sports radio about a dozen years ago, this fight basically happened despite the best interest of society as a whole. It was Mamoru Ui Full Swing beating up Koki Okada for 3 5-minute rounds and winning via split decision. But I gotta ask, when it came down to Mamoru Ui Full Swing beating up Koki Okada, do you think that Okada even belonged in the same ring as Full Swing?
This is another. They threw him into the fire again. This is another This is another one of those bouts where I like Drew. He had a great analogy for these type of bouts where they have the veteran versus the young up and coming young gun. He called it like the final exam or like their midterm exam, right? A test for them. So I think that's a great way to put it. And obviously, I mean, this one I was pissed off at because Playboy Okada, he had a opportunity. He didn't know the assignment. He did not know the assignment. He could have won if he knew the assignment. He had opportunities where if he would have thrown a grounded kick, he could have won the bout. I mean, and just it was frustrating to see, and I was so thankful that Machi afterwards obviously knew the assignment with groundies and stuff, and it's like, but during this bout, even on Aisha, I was hearing Aisha does a fight companion watch along, and I think it was Yavin or somebody was saying it while we were in Discord saying that Aisha was yelling at him for not knowing the assignment as well. So I mean. Maybe the answer to your question, Jay Krish, is that no, he didn't belong in there with them. But you know what? I was happy to see Full Swing get the W. That was great to see because I like Full Swing. Everybody likes Full Swing, so it was good to see him get the W.
Understood. And JBF, even though Okada was the slight favorite going into this fight, I mean, I just gotta ask, do you think that if somebody were really, really betting on this fight, they were disappointed? They were more than disappointed in what Koki wasn't able to do?
Well, I disagree with what I just heard. I mean, I just looked to make sure Okada has crushed kickboxing experience, so he's another one of those kickboxers coming over to RIZIN, a Japanese kickboxer, and they matched him up smartly against Full Swing, who's a striker, and so Okada looked good. He was winning the beginning of the fight. He's had the youth, the length, the reach, the height. He looked like he was going to win at first, and Full Swing, he's one of those only in Japan characters where, his name fits his style. I mean, he literally a couple of times threw his punch so hard, he spun around 360 degrees. It was like a cliche, like that's his name and he has to fight that way. And in spite of that awkwardness, he did finally land and he did turn the fight around as it went. So, and he's very experienced. I think this was a great matchup. This is the kind of matchup you want to see when you have, which it happens a lot in RIZIN. One of these kickboxers crossing over. You don't want to put him up against somebody who's going to wrestle him, submit him, hump him, push up on him. You want him to fight, at least at the beginning of this crossover, other strikers, because that makes for a fun fight. And, I mean, Full Swing was a slight underdog. I had the foresight to pick up Full Swing for $1. It was another me versus J Wolf match in the fantasy league. He had it on. It was confident, and I was. It started good, but Full Swing got it done. He used his veteran savvy, his wild punches. He got in close enough to make those swinging windmills work, and he had a tough fought win, and he deserved it. So I think Okada was deserves to be there. He deserves to come back and put him up against another striker. That isn't going to just try to hump him and wrestle him, and then bring Full Swing back too. They should both come back.
Okay, so aside from all of that, and I'm sorry if I feel a little bit sleepy and tired and all this, but
Oh, come on, let's do another hour. Let's go. Let's go back over the main.
No.
He's right to wrap it up. 2 hours and 10 minutes is. If I wasn't on this podcast, I'd be complaining about it tomorrow.
So, long story. What were your overall thoughts about this fight card? And what was your overall fight of the night? JBF, you start first.
Fight of the night. Okay, I'm looking at the list, which is why my eyes probably look like I'm looking at my screen. Boy, I think we have to go with. We said it earlier, wasn't it? Ito and Laramie.
Yeah,
I mean Ito and Laramie.
Yeah. I think that was up. That was a close, competitive fight, and I think that was a lot of fun. And the co-main and main were both great fights too. They both went to decision. They were close, debatable. So there were definitely some candidates for fight of the night there.
I mean, I would go ahead and say Ito and Laramie as well, because it literally felt like I was watching these two guys go back and forth like it was an old school boxing match,
Yeah. And also, I want to give an honorable mention to Chihiro Dalbeck. That was also a fight of the night candidate as well. I mean, that was a lot of fun, and just it delivered the goods. We had dubbed it the People's Main Event beforehand, and it delivered. It delivered the goods, and that was another fantastic bout as well. So I want to give 1A and 1B for fight of the night, or fight of the year candidates to 1A to Ito Laramie and 1B to Chihiro Dalbeck.
Okay, and with that being said, this pretty much concludes us talking about RIZIN 50. And before I go ahead and pull the plug on this and catch some Z's, JDF, is there anything you want to shout out?
No, let's look forward to the next RIZIN card. I'm glad it's not going to take another 3 months to come up. We will have time when it gets closer to focus on that. This week, fans should enjoy BKFC in the
United Arab
Dubai, and 2 nights back, 2 cards back to back. We got the big Glory card, the heavyweight kicking off their big Grand Prix. So, and there's a lot of other fights, UFC, Invicta. There's a whole bunch of stuff. This is a very big week. So we got plenty of fights to focus on this week, and RIZIN coming up not too far from that.
I see. Other than that, you have no media. The only way to find you is on the RIZIN FL Fans Discord.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. He's in the RIZIN Discord.
FF Fans Discord. That's where we all chat.
And he's the fantasy league guru. He's running away with it now. After this RIZIN 50 event, he's clearly in the lead. So that was, but it's a lot of fun. So everybody join the RIZIN Discord, follow JBF, and get in that fantasy league with us. It's just so much fun. Makes the fights even better.
Mm-hmm. And Jay, since you are probably most seen on that Discord, I'll put a chance to shamelessly put yourself over.
Oh yeah, I love the RIZIN FF Discord. It's so much fun there. It's not public, and we talk about everything. We talk about all the fights. We don't have to just talk about RIZIN. So you come in there, join us. Like I said, I got the fantasy league. That's just absolutely sensational. Then on Twitter, that's or X. You can follow me as JAYYOLF1, just like it says on screen right there. Yes, it's misspelled on purpose. Yes, I'll fix it eventually one day, but just for right now, just follow that. And if you're a real person, I'll follow you right back. And then also sometimes I don't know when Drew's going to have us back on the We Are RIZIN podcast. Also with Aisha on the City Life Project podcast. Also check that one out. We're going to have a fantastic preview for the Tokyo Dome show on May 4th. and that's going to be this. RIZIN 50 was sensational. We're going to have some more announcements. We're going to get the final GP heavyweight GP combatants. The last two of them are going to be announced either this week or next week. And then also probably at the Tokyo Dome show May 4th, might get the full field, some of the field announced for the Flyweight Grand Prix. So a lot to look forward to. It's really awesome. And dude, I can't thank you enough for and also right here at Focus Fights. We always do the previews and reviews here. Just thank you, Jay Krish, and thank you, Just Bleed fan, for being on the show. This is a lot of fun. Really enjoy it with you guys, and just it was awesome. RIZIN 50 was awesome. Kicked off the year great for Epic RIZIN. I can't wait for the next one, and I just really enjoy it. It's just so much fun. It's just fun. It's just sensational. I love it.
Okay, so I guess that leaves me. Well, when it comes down to this particular event, I had a lot of fun. It was great getting RIZIN. Just start off the new year with a bang, despite being 10 weeks late. Even though, of course, I'll give credit to them. They did start off the new year by proxy. While everybody else was celebrating December 31st, they celebrated the first fight rounds of any kind in 2020. So, kudos to them. But this card was just another way of how they shown that they were that damn epic, And when it comes down to what they have in store, they got RIZIN Otoko Matsuri at the Tokyo Dome on May 4th. They got the RIZIN show in South Korea on May 31st. They got Super RIZIN in the summer. They got all these other particular shows down the line. And they not only got one, but two Grand Prix tournaments kicking off. So, this is just going to be incredible. I'm just hoping that whoever they get on for these next shows, it'll be just as incredible as the fight announcements and the fights have been themselves, especially at this most recent event.
I think it will, because look, this is their 10th year. This is the 10-year anniversary year. Look at all the international fighters they're bringing in. Look at all the guys that are knowing the assignment. Finally, we're getting superior rules set a lot now. I mean, it's just this is the year, you guys. This is the year, bros. It's gonna be sensational.
I can totally understand that. And when it comes down to RIZIN's decade-long celebration, I really hope I can do more of a retrospect when it comes down to this, because of the fact that I want to do a hell of a lot more with Focus Fights. I just need a lot of help in doing so.
I know. I want to get back in the writing, and I'll help with Focus Fights. But these previews are freaking awesome. These previews are freaking awesome. We got great guests like JBF, and it's awesome. So you're doing great. So don't sell yourself short.
Oh yeah, of course. I need to actually go and get rid of my writer's blog. But when it comes down to this, obviously I have been the Chillmeister J. Christian Gary. You can follow me in the links you see in the description of this podcast. Not so much more the video version, more so if you're listening to this on the audio version. Other than that, you can check out Andrew on... Hold up, wait a minute. You can check out Andrew on his platform. He just had his own RIZIN 50 review as we were doing this here. You can check out Izzy over at the Combat Sports Today crew. You can check out the Combat Sports Today crew as is.
Yes, they're great combat CST Today fam. They're fantastic. They really do a great job.
And you can go ahead and check out what Daniel Dzubecki has.
Our Polish bro over in Poland.
Mm-hmm. And you can check out what Todd Atkins has with his show.
Oh, yeah, we might be on the Japanese MMA beat with him for that show.
Yeah, but other than that, I mean, obviously, you want to check out more of what the RIZIN Fighting Federation has in store, you can check them out at jp.rizinfl.com. That's all I can say about them. I mean, obviously, we know damn well that we hope to do more next time when it comes down to talking about combat sports. Or if you're listening to this on the podcast, I hope to do a lot more episodes down the line that really won't revolve around RIZIN, but will hopefully revolve around combat sports in some way, shape, or form. Other than that, I am done. Because not because I'm sleepy, but because I'm tired of sitting on my ass for 2 hours. Just Bleed fan is done because he got crying kids in the background. Jay
Wrong guy.
That's the chair squeaking.
Yeah, it's my chair, I think.
and Jay Wolf is done because he got a girlfriend to talk to.
Yeah, what time is it? Oh man, I gotta give her a call. You're right. I
But
think she just texted me.
thank y'all for listening. We thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for enjoying everything what we had to do with Focus Fights Audio, and of course, being fans of the Rising Fighting Federation. You know damn well how I'm gonna end this off.
Pride never died. Pride is rising.
And aside from that, peace, and we hope to see y'all next time.